It's interesting that Brandon Tatum is welcome in Mississippi when Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are not, for the exact same reason that Stephen A. Smith is welcome at ESPN and Ryan Clark are not.
I will not sit up here and pretend that I did not hear what was on that tape. And I ask again, even the operator said, who is breathing on the boat? Don't you think that's strange, Nancy?
Hey, you talking about a state that got mad because niggas tried to read. And now the new extrapolation of that, the new extension of that is people having internet.
I'm not going to presume that the authorities are doing anything wrong until I see evidence of wrongdoing.
Real rock from the rock, an unusual musical happening in a most unusual place.
Yeah.
The state prison.
Yeah. Big bass, take out the trash, count the money, get the bag, talk that shit, run that bag, I'm your dad, put out the ass.
Big Bass Life with another informative video, man. I came across this footage and Meg, shout out to you. Nerdy Panda, that is her page. I don't know if they're taking her page down, but any two ways, we're going to see how all of these dots connect and how Racoon Tatum plays an important role. Because if you follow the trail, you lead to where the money is. It's like if you follow the receipts, you get to the money and you get to why these individuals are in play. Anyway, let's get to it. We ain't gonna hold nothing back. Let's get to it. Check this out.
Now, wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock. Assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock, who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take two of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then he also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come. And Bart was like, yeah, I can give all your friends a ride, blah, blah, blah. According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15 people on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would also explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the sea tow. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boats. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly. I'm going to play you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here, 525, speed miles, 30 to 35 knots. So here we go.
Planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water. And Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the islands.
Now, you heard him. He said that they took off going 40 miles an hour, and they didn't go to his buddy's grandparents' house, but they went to Fort Bayou to go do a plug thing. Except right here, 5:44, vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later, then it departs from El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou. So right there we have a lie. The boat did stop before going into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes later, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel departed El Camino Road half an hour later, headed southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and then turned southeast into Biloxi Bay Bridge. Then they went back to the Bayou boat launch. Then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day, then came back several times. Now, first off, why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know that Nolan was with them when they left. So why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents live there? Jax Patalo, whose family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Patalo Sr., which is Jax's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jax's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives from 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation and backed the racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. Finch was never found guilty himself, but some of his aides and appointees were indicted. And those sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations, so now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from the Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch. And if you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
Racoon Tatum. That's why you see he's so invested in this case. And they probably told him to go down there and investigate, go down there and interview these boys. We need them to have a voice. You're going to be the voice. You understand? So it's a black face in the high place. And this is what they're trying to do by misleading us and using him as a pawn piece, because eventually they will break their tools. And you see how much we're starting to pick apart. Anyway, I want you to check this clip out.
Right. Ain't nothing more Mississippi than threatening black people for nothing. I don't understand what we don't trust you because you've proven to be untrustworthy. Your governor has never said anything, and when he does say something about what's going on in Mississippi, the first thing he really talks about, if any significant to any significant degree, is to malign Ben Crump and Al Sharpton. It sounds like outside agitators, right? It sounds like what they used to say before.
Right.
It's interesting that Brandon Tatum is welcome in Mississippi when Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are not, for the exact same reason that Stephen A. Smith is welcome at ESPN and Ryan Clark are not. Is not. Anybody who says or asks questions, you talking about a state that got mad because niggas tried to read. And now the new extrapolation of that, the new extension of that is people having internet. So what is it? Why would I trust you? I don't know what happened, but I do know this. Maybe the hang up for me is that they keep bantering, throwing around this word friends. We were his friends. We were his best friends. Who was it? This young man this young man right here.
If Nolan could dig himself out of his grave right now, he would. No doubt. Nolan would be livid is an understatement. Nolan would never want anything pursued this way at all. I think he would be really upset with his parents about how they went about the situation. I think he generally would. I don't think he wouldn't support it. I know that for 110%. I know he wouldn't support any of it.
Best friends ever. But these young people throw friend around. When you are grown and you understand what the value of a friend, you understand if you have 5 good friends, you have been blessed. And I had to go say goodbye. The fact that you weren't compelled to say goodbye to somebody, the fact that you didn't have any grief or lament, the fact that you couldn't even access and try to ascertain what part you could have played in it, lets me know I'm not saying they're guilty, but wasn't one fucking friend in the bunch. Not one of them a friend. They can say acquaintances. They can say I was cool with. They can say teammates. You can't tell me a friend.
You know, Nancy Grace has been on the hot seat, and I'm pretty sure somebody's seen Willie D's video, and they probably alerted her to that. And she had the sister who did the audio on her live, but also she had Teslin, and Teslin had a few choice words for Nancy as well as everyone else. Check this video out.
These boys, these young men on that boat could be completely innocent. But when I listen to this sound, there are a lot of questions. Back to Teslin Figaro, who is joining us. She's the host of the Teslin Figaro podcast. She is a social justice and political commentator. Have you noticed that people are making a lot of the fact that Nolan was, quote, drunk? A, how do they know that? And B, does it make a difference?
Yeah, well, I've absolutely noticed it, that he was allegedly, they're saying he was drunk, and it doesn't make a difference. And let me ask you this, Nancy. If he was drunk with other teenage kids, he certainly wasn't drunk by himself. So if he was drunk, why was he the only drunk one that ended up dead? Secondly, if this was an accident, let's say he just got so drunk and just passed out, why didn't anybody report it? So even if it was an accident, even if he got drunk, which I don't believe, by the way, even if all those things happened, why did his so-called friends not report it? That's the part that we're missing. So where's the answers to that, Nancy? He just went and just said, I'm just going to be drunk and just go in the middle of the ocean and just die with hundreds and hundreds of people who are around, who are watching. Nobody saw anything happen. His friends didn't see anything happen. And again, I go back to this tape. I will not sit up here and pretend that I did not hear what was on that tape. And I ask again, even the operator said, who is breathing on the boat? Don't you think that's strange, Nancy? Who's breathing
Yes,
on
when I
the
first
boat?
heard that, Tesla, I thought, I've never heard a dispatch say, who's breathing? What? Did she hear all that in the background and do nothing? Or did she hear it and say something and release it? We don't know, man. We got to paper everybody with subpoenas to get to the bottom of this, but I want to go to...
You know, black folks right now waking up, man. There's a lot of heat that's being turned up on this case. And of course, you know, it's being played from all different directions. Even Stephen A. Snitch. You know, he's one of them guys along with Jason Whitlock that like to play like they're a part of the community when they're really not. He even had this guy on here, Law, Crime, and Order. I think it's Crime, Law, and Order. Big channel. Work with Nancy Grace, of course. And he's on there giving all of these different excuses, man. It's like everyone is picking a side. This is a big case. And the reason why it's a big case because you're talking about the antithesis of trying to establish whether black men have the right to be a Carmelo Anthony or black men will play the Nolan Wells situation. And what I mean by that, do black boys and do young men have a reason to protect themselves, even in the state of Texas? Or, like in Mississippi, should we just bite down on it, bear it, and whatever they say goes? Act like we never heard the audio. Act like nothing ever happened. Act like, you know, oh, the audio doesn't matter. Oh, the suspicious activity doesn't matter. The judge getting involved doesn't matter. The governor saying his piece doesn't matter. All of these links and all of these different connections with these different corporations and Turning Point and Officer Race Tatum, Racoon Tatum, it don't matter. You understand? But I want you to check this clip out.
That the fact that, you know, black kid and white friends is an issue out there. We get why it can be, but I'm going to say to people, and I'll say it to you, which is I hope we can stay focused on the evidence and not turn this into a racial case. And that's why when you asked me earlier about Ben Crump, I don't have a problem with Ben Crump per se. I do have a problem when he starts linking it to other cases and suggesting that this is of particular concern because of race. And let's give them the benefit of the doubt for now. If it turns out that, look what we've seen in the Savannah, in the Nancy Guthrie case, right? We gave the authorities the benefit of the doubt. Now that we've seen what happened in that case, we know they screwed a lot of things up, all right? They deserved the benefit of the doubt to begin with, but as we've now seen, they made a lot of mistakes. In the vast majority of investigations, that's not the case. So I'm not going to presume that the authorities are doing anything wrong until I see evidence of wrongdoing.
This has been Big Bad's Life with another informative video, man. What say you, fam? This is big case. But any two ways, man, hit that like, comment, subscribe, and we're going to get to the bottom of this, man. And until next time, all right?